You know, what if I told you that the key to predicting the future wasn't in some high-tech algorithm, but was actually hidden inside a 700-year-old poem? Well, today, we're going to become detectives. We're going to decipher a short, absolutely beautiful poem from ancient Korea to uncover a really profound message about the power of just paying attention. So let's get into it and start cracking the code.
So here it is. This is our 700-year-old code. It was written by a really famous scholar from the Goryeo Dynasty named Jeong Mong-ju. Now, at first glance, it just looks like a simple little poem about the weather, right? But what if these lines, these simple words about rain and grass, hold a much deeper secret to understanding how the world works? What kind of wisdom is hiding here in plain sight?
All right, to crack any code, you have to start at the beginning. We're going to look at the poet's very first observation. He notices something that, let's be honest, almost everyone else would miss. A rain that's so fine it's practically invisible. So let's break down this first clue.
Okay, so this first line is pronounced in Korean as 물방울적. To really get what the poet is describing, we're going to look at each piece of this line. These amazing characters called hanja.
First up, we have this character, Chun. It sets the whole scene for us. It means spring, a time of change, of transition, of new things beginning.
The second character, yu, is pretty straightforward. It just means rain. So right away we have spring rain. Simple enough. But the real clue is in how the poet describes this rain.
And here's where it gets really interesting. This third character, se, doesn't just mean small. It means something incredibly fine, delicate. Think more like a mist than a shower.
And then you have the final part, 물적, which literally means not a drop. This rain is so fine, so light, it doesn't even have enough weight to form a single droplet. Incredible, right? So when we put all those puzzle pieces together, Chun-heung Buljok paints this amazing picture of a rain that is barely even there. It's a change in the atmosphere that you can't really see. But as we're about to find out, you can hear it.
Okay, let's move on to the second clue,夜中微有聲. Now, this is where the poet shifts our attention away from sight and towards sound, and this is where the whole mystery gets deeper.
First, when is this happening? It happens夜中, which means in the middle of the night. You know, when the world is totally still and quiet, it's the perfect time to really listen. And in that deep quiet, the poet hears 미 유 성, a faint, subtle sound. It's not loud, it's not obvious, but it's there. And that tiny, tiny sound is the first real sign that winter is finally losing its grip.
Now this is where the poem completely transforms. It goes from just a simple observation to a really powerful prediction. The poet uses this one tiny clue, that faint sound of an invisible rain, to see a massive change coming over the horizon. Let's see how he does it.
The third line, Seoljin namgyecheong, lays out the first huge consequence. This is a direct cause and effect prediction.
The first part, Seoljin, is so definite. It means when the snow is all gone, it's marking the absolute final end of winter. That almost silent rain is quietly, secretly melting away every last bit of the cold.
And what's the result? 남기예청. The southern stream will swell up and overflow. So the poet is forecasting that this tiny, seemingly insignificant rain will lead to this powerful, totally visible rush of water.
And this brilliant forecast doesn't even stop with the water. The very last line, chowa da so seng, predicts the next inevitable step in this huge transformation.
The poet sees choe, which literally means grass sprouts. I mean, what's a more classic, undeniable symbol of new life than that? And da so seng just confirms his confident prediction. They will surely grow. From a sound so faint you could barely even hear it, the poet has accurately predicted the arrival of brand new life. That's amazing.
So what is the secret that's locked inside this poem? It's not about being a good weather forecaster. Not really. It's about a fundamental difference in how we see the world around us. It's about a clash between two totally different mindsets. The poem really reveals these two different ways of thinking. You've got the arrogant mind, which is only interested in the big, loud, obvious stuff. The roaring flood, the flowers after they've already bloomed. It's completely blind to subtle change. But then you have the humble mind, the poet's mind, and it finds profound meaning in the smallest details. It can see the future literally taking shape in the quietest moments of right now.
Look, this kind of foresight, it isn't magic.
It's the direct result of paying attention to the things that other people might just dismiss as trivial or unimportant, and crucially, doing it with what the source calls a mind of respect. It's about realizing that the smallest things, they often carry the biggest messages.
Okay, that is a beautiful idea, right? But how can we actually use this 700-year-old wisdom in our loud, busy, modern world, where it feels like everything is screaming for our attention all at once?
Well, it's about building the skill of quiet observation. It means noticing that subtle shift in a friend's tone of voice before it turns into a big argument. It's about listening for the quietest voice in a meeting, because you know what? That person might just have the most brilliant idea. It's about finding real value in the small details that others overlook, and understanding that these aren't just distractions, they are clues, just like that faint rain, all pointing toward what's coming next.
So I'll leave you with this question to think about. In your job, in your relationships, even just inside your own mind, what is the faint, almost unnoticeable sound of the spring rain trying to tell you right now? Because if you listen closely enough, you might just hear the future.